This is the Weekly Set, the official podcast of TVEnthusiast.com. Episode 76, recorded September 29th, 2016. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TV Enthusiast podcast, The Weekly Set. This is episode 76, the first of our fourth season. So today, I am your host for the evening. My name is Tyson Gifford. I am also the editor-in-chief of TV Enthusiast. And joining me today, as always, is our keeper of comics here at TV Enthusiast, Will Robrick.
Hello.
So today we have a lot to go over. So we're going to kind of rush through as much of this as we can. Some of it we're going to be going through pretty quickly. Some of it we'll spend a little bit more time talking about, but I have a pretty lengthy list of topics to go over. So let's start with what I'm calling our season catch-ups. So, Will, you caught up on Supergirl, right?
Yeah, fully caught up. I am ready for the premiere on the 10th.
So let's talk a little bit about Supergirl, because that's coming up in, 2 weeks?
Yes.
So, or like a week from Monday, because it's Monday, right?
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure. I didn't really. Well, I got my phone in front of me. Why don't I just look at the calendar here? Yep. A week from Monday.
Yeah, so that's good. So, let's talk a little bit about the show. So, before you had trouble watching it mostly because it's on CBS and they have their own licensing deals where it wasn't as easy to see.
Yeah, it was on Hulu, so I couldn't watch it unless I bought the episodes on iTunes or something. And so recently what I did was I just basically bit the bullet and bought the entire season off iTunes. So I could just watch it and catch up because
unfortunately they still haven't released the new seasons for these shows on Netflix.
No, they haven't. Supergirl season 1 is on Netflix right now.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
But they haven't for the other Arrowverse shows yet, have they?
As far as I could tell, no. That might be a situation because of CW, whatever deal they have with CW, which I know that deal recently changed, but I don't think it affected the previous season.
Yeah.
So whatever the previous deal was, that's probably it. The fact that they have Supergirl right now probably has more to do with CBS licensing it than CW.
Yeah, just pre-existing deals.
Yeah, pre-existing deals. Yeah, exactly.
So Supergirl to me was probably the most lighthearted kind of fun of the shows.
Even more so than The Flash. But you know what? I actually, god damn it, I appreciate that. It's it has the exact perfect tone a Superman, or I should say Supergirl show should have. Because Superman, or anybody wearing that shield, if it, that should be hopeful and optimistic. And,
I thought it was supposed to be really depressing and dour.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Darn it. They got all wrong. Zack Snyder got correct. Superman's supposed to be grimacing every scene. Nope. So and I'm watching this, I'm Berlant, he gets it. He totally gets it, what, it's all about and everything. And I really ended up enjoying this show. Actually ended up becoming one of my favorites of the Arrowverse shows. It's easily better than Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow right now. And I think it's tied with The Flash for me, as far as these shows go. The only caveat is being Flash having better villains so far.
So you're saying you like it more than Felicity?
Way more than Felicity. Holy cow, yeah. I'm glad there's no Felicity on this show. That's another thing. There's no character in this show that annoys me or bugs the heck out of me even. My only major complaint about the show is the villains are so far pretty damn weak.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think that's also largely has to do with the CBS side of it, making it fit in more as a CBS series, whereas it's gonna get a little bit more CWE, in its second season, I think, and they're gonna do a few more interesting things. Season 2's coming up. We got Superman. We've gotten a few, scenes released so far to kind of see what Superman looks like in action.
Oh my god, that was perfect. That's was just pitch perfect. I gotta say the star of the show, Melissa Benoist, she is just amazing. Amazing, incredible. Love her performance. She totally dominates this role, much in the same way that Grant Gustin is Barry Allen to me. Melissa Benoist is Supergirl. She just is. Mm-hmm. That to me was like very important. And also if you watch, also her being part of the Arrowverse now is gonna be great because she has such great chemistry with Grant Gustin. When that crossover happened, it's like, it just seemed natural. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was really good. Did you see the new trailer they released, the new like Fight Club trailer?
I didn't because that's on like the CW app, and I don't have that app downloaded to my phone, so I would have to actually go on the App Store, download the app, probably make an account, sign into it.
I thought the video is available on YouTube too.
Nope, not from what I can find.
Well, it's really cool, and you get to see a little bit of her chemistry with Oliver too, which worked pretty well. So
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing it, but it's like, it's annoying. Like, I have to go download an app and everything. It's like, so I mean, I'll get around to it, but it's just like, you're just making me do a bunch of work to watch a short thing.
You're gonna have to do it for the show anyway, so.
Yeah, that's true.
for all the Arrowverse shows, and anybody that's kind of a little bit disheartened by the Hulu deal and what that means for watching your CW shows, you're gonna be able to watch them through CW's own app like the next day, basically the same way it was on Hulu. And then you're gonna get them much quicker, like as soon as the season ends, like 8 days after, I believe, on Netflix, you're gonna get the whole season. So initially I think I was concerned just because it was like, now we have this, it's not gonna be on Hulu, how is like Will gonna watch us and stuff? Then they announced that they have all this app support. That's great. Only issue now is that there's no like commercial free option. So you're going to be having to sit through some commercials there, Will.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. It sucks. I paid for the no commercials on Hulu, and then the shows that I'm most interested in watching go to some other app with commercials. God damn it. Damn you. So I'm excited. Flash comes back Tuesday. Supergirl comes back on the 10th. Legends of Tomorrow sometime after that. And then that's all the shows. There's nothing else.
Yeah, Arrow doesn't count.
Yeah, Arrow doesn't count.
There's actually been a few interesting things with Arrow, though. Did you see the teaser screen, or not, it wasn't a screenshot, it was like just a photograph that shows, Oliver sitting on a bench next to a fully armored, Deathstroke.
Nope, because I will not let them pull me back in. I will not get suckered into this.
But what if it's Manu Bennett in that suit?
Oh my god. Okay, if Manu Bennett comes back and he's a regular, I will come back and watch this show.
Manu Bennett, we love you. Please come back and save the show by killing Felicity.
Yeah, right? Show how awesome and badass you are and come back. I will watch every episode. In fact, let's just make the show about Deathstroke. Like rename it Deathstroke, and yeah.
Just to make it about him, like, terrorizing cities and killing people.
And it's funny because, like, apparently Deathstroke is going to be in the new Batman movie.
Yeah, they got the guy from True Blood.
Yeah, Joe Manchin, which isn't a bad choice, but it's no Manu Bennett.
Yeah, Manu Bennett was so good.
Yeah, he was.
So moving on from Supergirl, I want to touch base a little bit on Narcos, because I watched season 2 of Narcos recently on Netflix, and it's good. So you haven't watched any of Narcos, have you?
Nope.
It is a great show that you need to stay focused on because most of it's in Spanish. So most of it's subtitled.
Okay. Oh, most of it is subtitled? Interesting.
Yeah, most of it's in Spanish. It's a really good show, though. Not gonna talk too much about that just because, I'd just be rattling on by myself, but now we're getting to the point where I'm gonna go a little bit rapid fire through some of the new fall shows and some of the returning returning fall shows. So starting with the returning shows, I checked out American Horror Story, the new season. It's really bad.
Oh, okay. I was kind of saying, hoping you were going to say it's really good, because like I was thinking about jumping back into that, but no.
No, they went for this like you know, like those shows you'd have on like, you know, Sci-Fi or something, where they have like interviews with the people and reenactments about like a haunted house or something.
Uh-huh.
That's basically what they did, but like as fiction. So you see like the interview, there's like interview segments, and then they have like different actors playing them for the reenactment part. And it's just not good. It saps all the tension out, the format.
Really a dumb idea.
Yeah. It's just not good. This is American Horror Story has been kind of like dwindling for a while now. I think the last good season was probably season 3. I was kind of hoping, you know, they were putting so much mystery about like what the theme of this new season was going to be. So I was kind of having some hope, going like, okay, maybe they're really going to do something interesting. No, unfortunately not. You know, it's just not good. I've also been watching the new season of Once Upon a Time. 1 episode so far, I believe. It's okay. Very, unmemorable for the most part.
Very unmemorable.
Yeah, I mean, they're, you know, continuing on from where they left off. They got, you know, this season, it's all about kind of these different stories. We got, you know, Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you know, or what is it? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, this season.
Oh, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde's in this?
Yeah, they introduced it last season, and now that's like a much bigger part. Like, that's like the big bad is Mr. Hyde.
That's not Disney.
It's just, they have this idea now of like this like land of untold stories. So it's all these kind of stories. So it's just like, you know, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde isn't an untold story. So
yeah. Land of untold stories, aka we're running out of Disney stuff.
Yeah, pretty much, I think. So they got all these different, it's kind of hodgepodge. It's interesting when they first kind of showed it, and where they could go with this is kind of interesting. I also like the actor who plays Hyde. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but it's the guy, he was in the US version of Being Human. He's been in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
he was in the first episode of The Walking Dead as a zombie.
Oh, nice. So basically, well, I mean, this isn't like the first time like they veered away from Disney. Early on, you know, they revealed one of the characters was actually Dr. Frankenstein, and they had like a whole Frankenstein world that they showed.
It was all like black and white, and
it was all black and white, and then they had like that stupid kid Henry or something. They had them remark, that wasn't in the book. It's like, oh, okay.
So yeah, they got all these other stories. They're doing Aladdin now. They're kind of getting into some of the savior mythos, I guess, is what this season's going to be kind of addressing. Previous saviors, I think, is the idea.
Yeah, that's what these are like. Yeah, pretty much like hammered home.
So I mean, it's okay. I haven't felt that like disconnect point yet, but it does feel a little different watching it, you know, week to week versus watching it like kind of a few episodes at a time as I had been before. So this is my first time watching it week to week. So it's been a week since the last episode, and it's kind of like I've just almost like forgotten what's happened. And that kind of says, I guess the show is like when you're watching it week to week.
Right.
So also with returning seasons, I checked out Ash vs. Evil Dead season 2. Did you watch the full first season for
I haven't finished the first season yet.
Okay. I was checking out the second season. Really good, really gory. Has, you know, they again nailed that Evil Dead vibe that like you kind of forget how well they nailed that, and then you get back in and you're like, oh yeah, they got the blood splatter, just the way it's like over the top gross to the point of like ridiculousness is like totally there. Continues to be great. If anyone's wondering why I'm talking about this now when it doesn't premiere until Sunday, I don't have a screen or anything. It's available on Starz app and website. So if you just go to, the Starz app or the Starz website, the first episode is available free. Yeah, it's good. Continues to be good. Continues to develop. Got to see, Lee Majors as Ash's dad. Works great.
Awesome.
I haven't seen Ted Raimi yet.
He'll be in there. He'll be there.
Yeah. He'll probably be coming up in the next week.
Yeah.
But it's good. Lots more callbacks to Army of Darkness this time. Last time they didn't have the rights to Army of Darkness. So they kind of like ignored that part whenever they'd like reference past stuff. This time they do have the rights to Army of Darkness. So there's like a lot more references to that, which is really cool. So, yeah, exciting stuff. Now I'm going to talk about some new shows that have come out. Really quickly get through these. Atlanta, the new, Donald Glover series, on FX, where it's about a rapper in Georgia. It's good. It's really different. It's the way it's told is really kind of interesting. Initially I remember Donald Glover saying that he compared it to like Twin Peaks, and I was like, what the hell? Like he said Twin Peaks for rappers, but there are a few moments that do kind of have like a bit of a Twin Peaks vibe to them, strangely enough. So he's not so crazy with what he said, and it is kind of just this weird show, and it's good because of that. So, I've been enjoying that. Query, which is a new show on Cinemax, I checked out. Good show, takes place in something very pulpy. What was that show we talked about before? Was it Happen Leonard that had come out like last season?
Yeah, Happen Leonard. Yeah, I believe.
Kind of similar to that, like, but a little bit more on the serious side. But it has that like 70 pulpy vibe to it. It's pretty good though. It's got Dewey in it from Justified. If you remember him, the lackey that was always somehow surviving, that worked for Boyd and stuff. So he's in it. Very different role for him. Yeah, good show. Watched Better Things, which is the new FX show, that stars the girl that does the voice for Bobby on King of the Hill. Can't remember the actress's name. But she was in Louie, and this show is produced by Louis C.K. and so it feels a lot like Louie, but from like a female perspective, I guess.
Nice.
Good show. It's interesting because she plays a character very similar to her real life self. Like she's an actress who does, like voice work and stuff a lot. So it's like where Louis kind of like touched on stand up, but he wasn't playing strictly himself. He was playing kind of like a version of himself. This is similar for her. So, it's pretty good. Son of Zorn on Fox. Really funny show. That's the one with, it's kind of like the He-Man crossing with, live action as like a sitcom.
Yeah, I heard the first episode was pretty lame.
It's like a mixed bag. I think it's pretty funny. Just because of the way, it's just, the concept itself is ridiculous.
The concept itself is ridiculous, yeah, but I watch the commercials and stuff, and I just don't feel anything. I'm like, I don't know.
I think what makes it work for me is that this isn't just like he's this weird guy in this one thing. It's like there's this whole aspect of the world that he comes from inside this world. So it's like it's basically an island on Earth that's animated, and everything there is animated. So like all of Zorn's old friends are all animated, and it kind of starts off with him like, he's going to go back and visit his son, which hilariously his name is like Alangular. Yeah. But he's like this normal guy, very like a Michael Cera type, like Michael Cera in Arrested Development. But yeah, it's really, him trying to go back to this place, and then like he's like regretting not being there as like a father figure earlier on, and him trying to adapt in. It's pretty funny. You just it has to be the right fit for you.
Okay.
Those shows. But it's from Lord and Miller,
I mean, just because like the first like trailers and stuff weren't funny doesn't mean like the show might get better, like, as it goes on. You'll definitely have to see. I just don't know. The humor is just not, from what I see, the humor just isn't there. It's beyond the general conceit of, oh, it's this crazy cartoon guy in the real world. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you gotta actually have jokes to support that.
It works for me. I know it didn't work for my mom. I know some people didn't like it and some people did. But it worked for me. I enjoyed it.
Right.
I also watched This Is Us, which is a really kind of fascinating show on, I believe at NBC, I would think it's on. This is one that it's kind of about, you see in the trailers basically 3 different people's lives or 4 different people's lives, and they're all born on the same day. So all these 4 people were born on the same day, and it's about how their lives intersect. Now, are you okay with me spoiling the events of the first episode?
Yeah, I'm okay because it didn't look like anything I wanted to watch, so.
It has a really interesting twist at the end. So spoiler warning for This Is Us for the first episode.
They're all siblings.
That is the case. 3 of them are actually. One of them is an adopted sibling. And the other one, the 4th one, is actually their parents. So, that was the kind of interesting twist, was that, Milo via whatever his name is from Heroes, his character, like the whole time you're seeing them and you think like, oh yeah, it's cutting back and forth. You realize at the end that's actually like in like the 80s or the 70s. And, you know, it's like, I think in the 80s and he's, or 70s, and he's the father of these kids. And that's showing it from before. And his wife is pregnant with triplets. You know, it's a very rough pregnancy, rough delivery, and they end up losing one of them. And it's like this heartbreaking moment. But then you find out that at that same time, this black character that seems to be unconnected, because they connect early in the episode, they connect 2 of the characters. The guy who played the Green Arrow on Smallville and, the overweight woman you find out are siblings early in the episode. But what you find out later is you see this black man that's trying to connect or trying to find his father, who had dropped him off at a fire station. So the way the episode ends is this couple, they had triplets, they lost the last baby, but then at that same day, a fireman had brought to the same hospital they were at this child that had been dropped off at the fire station. And they were kind of like there, they'd already planned to have 3 kids, and they decided, you know, it's kind of like it's fate, you know, like this is a 3rd child that we can bring back. And so you find out, and it's just a really interesting twist at the end to find out that this man and woman that were expecting triplets are, you know, the parents of these children.
Right, definitely.
So it's pretty clever. It kind of reminds me of, did you ever watch Modern Family when it first premiered?
Nope.
In the first episode of Modern Family, they kind of introduced it as if they were these 3 separate families. You had like the 2 gay men that were adopting a child. You had this more kind of stereotypical regular nuclear family, you know, and then you had this like cross-generational family with like a much younger wife and an older husband. And then you find out at the end of the episode that the older man, the husband, is actually the father of the 2 of the children in the other 2 families. That there are all this one family, whereas before it was set up like there were like 3 separate families.
They're secret, but actually they're all connected.
Yeah, so it's very similar to that, the way that they did This Is Us. But it just kind of, it's a pretty good emotional impact when that moment hits. You're like, oh my God, like it kind of dawns on you as it's about to happen, and you're like, oh, and then you start to kind of realize like, oh yeah, the kind of aesthetic that this guy was in, you know, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. That's that era, you know, but like you didn't notice, but they just did a really good job of setting that surprise up. I haven't seen the 2nd episode, so I don't know if it's going to have the same effect on me. as like with a second episode, you have to kind of go like, okay, well, the cat's out of the bag now. So now what's the show about?
Right.
Like, how are you going to play this up now? I haven't seen the second episode, so I don't know what their next, trick is in their bag, but it was a really good first episode. You could almost watch it as like a good short film.
Well, that's good.
So, moving on, I watched The Good Place. That's one with, Kristen Bell and Ted Danson, where she goes to heaven, but she doesn't belong there. It's pretty funny. I like it a lot, actually. I think you'd actually dig it too, Will. It's not only because you love Kristen Bell, but I think the show in and of itself is really funny, and it's developing in a really nice way too. I believe the second episode, they, added like a little new wrinkle to it that made it kind of a little bit more fun. So I'm enjoying it quite a bit. It's just funny watching her as she's like a horrible person, but it's not like she's like a murderer or something. She's just like, somebody who was very selfish in her life, and her having to kind of like try to find a way to mask that with all these people that are like obnoxiously great people. Like they're great people. They're like, the kind of people that would win like Nobel Prizes and stuff for peace.
Yeah.
But they're like obnoxiously so, like where you could see somebody that's not a great person being like, oh, get over yourself, you're not so great,
Right, absolutely.
That's kind of what the show's about, so it's pretty funny. Okay. I watched Pitch, which is the one about the female baseball player entering in. I didn't realize until after I finished the episode that the catcher on the team is Zach from Saved by the Bell.
What?
I had no idea. He has a beard, and I just completely didn't register. And then I saw it mentioning that like on a website later on, and I was like, what? Like, had no idea. It just didn't register with me at all for some reason. But it's a pretty good show. It's dealing with the kind of idea of somebody exploring unexplored territory. The idea of, like, they make a lot of references to, like, Jackie Robinson and when Major League Baseball was desegregated initially, and just kind of like the idea of everyone's watching, you make any mistake and it's like setting back the movement. So it's not only that like, oh, you've done so much for the movement by being the first person to do this, but any mistake you make is detrimental to the movement as well. So it's kind of interesting to watch from that perspective.
Right. Right.
And then I watched also Designated Survivor, which is the new Kiefer Sutherland as the president, and Lethal Weapon, which is actually pretty good. Both of those.
Which is garbage.
Lethal Weapon I thought was actually pretty good. Did you watch that, or?
I didn't watch it, but I read some reviews that were pretty scathing.
I thought it was actually pretty good. I think Damon Wayans does a really good job. I think they kind of got that balance right of, you have your guy that's like too old for this shit, and then you have like the suicidal guy. Right. And it's a little flawed, but it's just a really good, fun action series. That combination is really good, between the two of them. And Damon Wayans does a lot to make that work. So, he does an amazing job at it. Designated Survivor, which is the one with Kiefer Sutherland. Pretty good, fun. I remember I was laughing when I watched it because when the big explosion happened, like you don't hear anything, you don't see anything. It's just like the kind of TV cuts out. And then like eventually he looks out the window and you see this massive explosion. And I looked over, I was watching this with my mom, and I looked over and I said, there's the most unrealistic thing about the show. An explosion of that size and magnitude, that close, where he can look out the window and see the fire, like you would have heard and felt that. It would have been like an earthquake. Like that's the most unrealistic thing about that. That like, the TV cut out and they're like, why is the TV cut out? Or, and it's like, well, that should have been something that was felt and heard. But, overall the show is pretty good. I think I'm mostly looking forward to, I'm bad with actor and actresses' names right now, but the actress who played Nikita on the CW's Nikita is in it as an FBI agent, and I'm kind of mostly interested in her character's arc, and where she's coming from on it. So that's pretty good. But that brings us to an end of the new shows that have come out this fall. Now we got to bring a little bit of closure to two shows we've been talking about a lot recently, Braindead and Mr. Robot. So let's start with Braindead. You finished the season now, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think about the finale?
I thought it was good. I thought it was nice. It wrapped up things nicely, gave it room for a sequel, but that wrapped up the story. So like, if there never is any more of this, then you're not going to feel like, oh, well, now there's closure. There is 100% closure to the story that you would want, assuming they never produce any more of this at all. So they said and then at the end there's the stinger, sets it up nicely if they want to do more.
So then this time it's Wall Street.
Yeah, this time it's Wall Street, definitely. Like they can do it in a different setting, they can even do it with different characters if certain actors don't want to return. So they have that set up nicely, so they can do that. But as far as season 1 goes and everything you've been invested in, that it's all resolved. There's no pangs of like, oh, what could have been if only this show wasn't canceled,
Yeah, it's pretty self-contained.
Yeah, it's pretty self-contained. So I appreciated that. Overall, it was pretty decent. It struck me, it was remarkable to me how much it felt less like a series finale and more like just like another typical episode that also just happens to wrap things up at the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Did you like the little twist about the NSA?
Yeah. That one guy was like NSA the whole time. That was pretty funny. Maybe the bug should have infected him, but he was too paranoid. He wasn't gonna let that happen.
Well, now we know why he's so paranoid. He knows what the government's listening into.
Yeah, he knows what the government. Yeah, exactly. He has knowledge of why he should be paranoid.
Yeah, it's like they say, just because you're paranoid don't mean they're not after you.
Yep.
So yeah, I really liked the Brain Dead finale. I like the way they kind of wove in Jonathan Coulter, who's the guy that does the previously on like songs.
Yeah, Jonathan Coulter. Yeah, they did some clever things. Or there was an earlier episode where like he's doing the previously on, and then he just like says like he got bored and frustrated with the show, so he did previously on Gunsmoke instead.
Yeah, he was too tense. So
it was too tense.
So he went on to Gunsmoke. That was really funny. But I really liked what they did in the finale where you actually see him now. So it's like he's actually like a guy performing on the streets with a guitar. And they had the scene where like he was singing something and he was like near the window and it was cutting back and forth so you could see kind of like in this under apartment where they were like talking and where the group is talking and then him singing, and the guy kind of like goes up to the window like, what's your problem?
Yeah.
Like, stop it with the music. And the guy's like, oh, sorry. Or something.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was pretty clever. I like that.
It's a little kind of meta joke, so that was pretty good. But yeah, I think I thoroughly enjoyed Brain Dead. That's available on Amazon Prime if you haven't watched it.
Or CBS All Access.
Yeah, if you pay for CBS All Access.
Yes, if you pay for CBS All Access. I mean, either way you gotta pay. You gotta be paying for Prime or you gotta be paying for CBS All Access. Yeah. No free rides here.
But next up is the show that I think we've enjoyed the most from the shows we've talked about during the course of summer, which is Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot. Oh my God, this show.
So the last two episodes are the ones we haven't seen, which are the events kind of taking place after the kind of like assassination of Darlene's boyfriend.
Yeah. So it's revealed that because it's not really made clear at the end of like the previous episode, what exactly happened. Like if Darlene was killed, if her boyfriend was killed, or if both of them were killed, or if they were actually not even in the diner anymore when that shooting happened. Because, there's the whole thing of timing, where I know when she was running to the diner, it was cutting back to them having their meal, but what I fully expected was her to get there and to them having just left. And that's
or they were like in a different diner.
Yeah, like that dumb trick. But to Mr. Robot's credit, it does not fall into such cliches. It avoids them. So so instead, when she gets there, instead of like the typical thing happening that you would expect, like, oh, they're not there anymore, she checked out the wrong diner. No, Mr. Robot doesn't do the typical thing. No, Mr. Robot pulls out on a wide shot of the exterior of the diner while a gunman pulls up and shoots the place up. Mm-hmm. And that's how that ended. And you're still thinking, well, okay, but Darlene, okay, so you're thinking what happened? And you're thinking, well, Darlene and them probably just left when that happened.
And they went a whole other episode without answering it.
Yeah. They went a whole no, what actually happened was Darlene's boyfriend was killed in that shooting, and that was definitely targeted at him.
Yeah, and Darlene survived, and she's now in FBI custody.
Yep. They're trying to get her to talk.
Yeah, and she's not having it.
Nope,
what was interesting about, because, I mean, if we talk about all of the kind of the FBI side of what was happening there, what was interesting was at the end of her storyline, in the season, basically, she was taken into the office where they basically saw the board of all the information they had.
Yep.
And it led all directly to Tyrell Wellick, with like Elliot kind of just like floating off as like a person of interest but of no consequence necessarily.
They had like Elliot as a person of interest, but they had like Tyrell Wellick as like the mastermind. When they kind of got that backwards. It's like, it was fascinating because it's like the FBI managed to put all the pieces together, and they managed to come to a fairly accurate picture of what was going on, except they botch it by linking it all to Tyrell as the mastermind.
Yeah, they got that one critical mistake that just makes and invalidates everything.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the FBI agent involved, how did you like the little Amazon Echo advertisement?
Yeah, I know, right? Amazon Echo. I mean, I don't know. I like that. I like that scene. I think it's sad, I guess, maybe, because I can really relate to that character, especially in that scene.
It's surprising how well it worked. Like, as the scene was starting up, I'm like, are they seriously gonna do like a whole scene that's just her talking to her Amazon? And then as it went on, it's kind of heartbreaking, and you watch.
It works because like it doesn't play off as like just some product placement for Amazon Echo. It plays off like this woman is so lonely that the only person she has to talk to is her Amazon Echo, which isn't really a person, and you can really tell from its rather unsatisfying answers to her questions to it. Which only like when she asks a question and it speaks, its answers only tend to highlight her loneliness.
Yeah, it's all highlighting how disconnected it is. It's like
how disconnected it is. Yeah.
So
and I really love that scene because I 100% relate, and it's fine. So it transcended being mere product placement for me, because that's what it made me feel something. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, so Mr. Robot, fantastic show. When it does product placement, it does the best product placement. Amazing.
Product placement is huge.
It's huge, yeah. I mean, but so again, they avoid the traps like maybe other lesser shows would fall into.
Yeah, definitely. It was a really kind of interesting scene. I actually did a comic strip for our weekly comic strip that we have up. I did one based on that, where it was just her talking to the Amazon Echo and her just going on and on about depressing stuff, and the Echo basically like saying, "Hey lady, I'm just an Amazon Echo."
I'm just an Amazon Echo. I'm not your psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can check that out on the site as well. I believe the title of that comic strip on the site is Your Last Cup of Sorrow, all written in leet speak.
Oh, yeah, nice. That sounds good. Definitely check that out, people watching this.
So, let's see, what other kind of big points we have? Oh, well, Elliot, we finally got to see Elliot meet up with Tyrell Alec, Mr. American Psycho.
Yep, if Tyrell Wellick, this is interesting though, because Elliot doesn't quite believe Tyrell Wellick is actually there, or real.
Yeah.
Elliot is having a hard time believing, what's in front of his eyes. He tells the viewer, as he does, he talks to the viewer. He tells the viewer that, like the mind and the eyes and your perception is all imperfect. Like he goes on this thing, like the concept, like your eyes and stuff are imperfect creations. So how do you know that what they're perceiving is actual reality?
Yeah.
You don't. And so it kind of feeds into that. It feeds into what happens with Elliot and Tyrell, where Elliot decides that Tyrell isn't actually there, that what he is perceiving is illusion, just like when he sees and talks to Mr. Robot. Well, Mr. Robot isn't really there. So he transfers that onto Tyrell. And that backfires on him. Literally.
Yeah. So we'll get back to that, because there's something I want to bring up about that
there's stage 2.
We need to address before, There's something else we need to address before that, which is Angela's role in the season, which I think she had the most interesting of the storylines in the finale, in like the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, I think she did too. I mean, she, White Rose pays Angela a visit. Angela has become interesting to White Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Because what she's doing, or basically her objective, threatens White Rose's project, whatever she's got going on with that township at, Evil Corp.
Yeah. And so she kind of wants to understand Angela better and to convince Angela to kind of like be on her side.
Yeah, exactly. To get on her side.
So in order to do that, she takes her to a dark room with a hang in there cat poster and a Commodore 64 with a little girl giving her a personality test. It's just a very trippy, weird scene. You're like, okay, is this real? Like, what's going on with this? Is she having delusions now? Because it's so just this weird scene of her, like, having this conversation with this little girl, and the little girl's asking her questions like, have you ever cried during sex?
Yeah, just weird stuff. So she manages to convince Angela to get on her side. And then what? I don't know if we see too much of Angela in the finale.
We do in the final scene. That's why I wanted to address. Yeah, I wanted to address this before we finish the talk about Tyrell and Elliot, just because of that, because I wanted to catch us up to that point. But let's go right back then to Tyrell and Elliot. As you said, Elliot's plan backfired literally.
Tyrell shoots him, because Elliot, being so confident Tyrell wasn't real, was not afraid of the concept of Tyrell shooting him. But that happens. Basically it's all over stage 2, which stage 2 is simple enough. Okay. And it's funny because stage 2 is such a logical and simple leap that anybody should have been able to figure this out right from the go without being told. Because all stage 2 is stage 1, they destroyed all of Evil Corp's digital financial record. Everything stored on their servers, on their computers, got destroyed. Phase 1. Well, phase 2 is just simply destroying the paper backups, the non-digital backup files that they have that can't just be hacked away. And in order to do that, they get lucky because, as Mr. Robot points out, or as I think Tyrell points it out, that they're shipping all the paperwork to one building. And so basically all they have to do is, through a series of hacks, is basically cause an explosion, blow up the building, and destroy all the paper backups. That is literally phase 2.
Yeah.
And it's such a simple plan, but the only problem is, that's gonna kill people. Elliot, it's gonna have collateral. Elliot is not on board with this at all. Elliot is like, this shit is not cool. I have to stop it. And that's what ends up making Tyrell shoot Elliot.
Because Elliot himself, under the name of Mr. Robot at the time, told Tyrell not to let anybody stop it. And so it's, another throwback to Fight Club. We really respect what you're doing, sir, from Fight Club with, you told us we have to take their balls,
Yeah.
Very, very much like that scene in Fight Club, where it's like he had fallen into his own trap, and then, what's interesting there is that on first appearance, and I believe this to be the case, it shows that Tyrell was in fact real and shot Elliot. And that is later kind of given more evidence when Tyrell actually calls Angela. And Angela's in some office building and she's sitting by the window and she gets a phone call and Tyrell's like a mess and she's trying to calm him down and says, it's okay, you did what you're supposed to do. I'm gonna go over there. I should be there when Elliot wakes up.
Which suggesting that now Angela is involved with phase 2 and she's fully on board with the plan.
Exactly. And she knows who Tyrell is.
And she knows who Tyrell is. So she got up to speed with this pretty quick. And it also, that scene also confirms that Elliot is alive. He did survive the shooting. Mm-hmm. That they didn't just kill off the main character of the show. I mean, kind of hard to have Mr. Robot season 3 without Mr. Robot.
But yeah, it's what's interesting though is that the show has done so much to point out to us that Elliot is an unreliable narrator and that we just can't trust him, that there's still debates going on over whether or not online as to whether or not Tyrell is real or not. Even after the finale, people are like convinced that he's still a figment of his imagination and Elliot shot himself. And that when Tyrell called Angela, that was actually Elliot calling Angela as Tyrell and then Angela basically playing along. I don't believe that's the case. I think Tyrell is real in that scenario. But that shows how much they pushed us into thinking Elliot is completely unreliable as a narrator. That we just can't trust it. Anything happens and we're like, well, I don't know. It's still up in the air.
Yeah, it's still up in the air. Who knows?
So one last scene, in Mr. Robot. Well, first we should say, after the call between Tyrell and Angela, you see all the lights go out in the city.
Yeah.
Which is something we've been seeing for a while now. Since the beginning of the season, I think we've been seeing these kind of flickering brownouts and this kind of decay of the city. We've been seeing trash piling up and it's just getting kind of like apocalyptic,
Right.
And now you see the power go out. So you're like, oh, okay, how's this going to play into season 3? There's more going on here than just the Worth E-Corp. There's some, damage being done to the infrastructure of the city. But after all of that, after the credits, you stayed past the credits for the finale, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so there's a scene, a little post-credits, a little Marvel trick, where it shows a Fry's parking lot, and this has been confirmed now to be a Fry's in Arizona, because I don't know if you have a Fry's where you are, Will, but all of the Fry's have different themes. So you could actually look it up and say, okay, this was a Aztec theme. What's Aztec theme? Where's that? And it's Phoenix. So that's where this is, but we see the two F Society members taken off. They're in Phoenix, sitting outside of a Fry's, and you have this really weird long shot going through this parking lot, showing them, kind of panning around them, and who's there to greet them but Elliot's friend from the cell block, who works for the Dark Army.
So, yep.
Really kind of interesting ending there. Really cool. Can't wait for Mr. Robot Season 3. I know there are some mixed feelings about Season 2. Personally, I loved Season 2. I felt that it went into like this very cerebral, heady space that is almost like Hannibal in that sense, you know, of just being very cerebral and heady and surreal. And, you know, that's kind of where Mr. Robot went this season, and I loved that.
Oh, yeah, it was great. Fantastic.
So I think I like it even more than season 1.
Oh, nice. Me too.
So that's closes out our summer discussion. Now we're going to start up what's going to be our fall discussion. We're going to get through this pretty quickly, and then we'll talk about it in more detail in the next couple podcasts as they come up. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Scream Queen. So you're caught up on both of those, right?
Right.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Ghost Rider is freaking awesome on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. All right, they nailed it. This so far is the best season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Just because of the Ghost Rider stuff, really. I mean, there's some other interesting things. There's stuff about the new director of S.H.I.E.L.D., Jason O'Mara. Did you figure out who he was? Yeah, he's the Patriot.
Yeah, that was a really kind of cool.
That was really kind of cool reveal. Stuff about the ghost. It's Ghost Rider. It's all about Ghost Rider this season, and like his relationship to Daisy now, or Quake. I guess we're calling her Quake.
Changes all the time. It's Sky, then Daisy, then Quake.
Sky, then Daisy, then Quake. Next season, it's gonna be, who knows, Martha.
Martha, because of the Batman versus Superman.
Because of that, yeah, exactly.
She's gonna have a child superhero.
She's gonna get in a fight or with somebody or something, and then right before they kill her, they're gonna learn her name is Martha, and then it's gonna be like, my mom's name is Martha. I can't kill you.
So yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s been really good. I really like that twist with the director. I love the scene with him just kind of soaking all the damage from Melinda May.
Yeah, just taking it, you know.
That was total comic book. Loved it.
Yeah, I loved it. That was great. We don't know what his agenda is, or if he has secret agenda. I know his character is a hero in the comic books, so like...
He's the one he's basically the tool they use to retcon, the Captain America story, like back in like the 60s, right? Like they used him to basically say, oh, this was Captain America during that time because the other Captain America was on ice during that time.
Right, yeah, exactly. They basically used his character to retcon him, even though his character was a pre-existing character created around the same time as Captain America. But yeah, so that's cool.
That's what you call a deep cut.
That's a deep cut.
I totally dig what they're doing with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this season. I love it. One thing also, it's been now confirmed, Jed Whedon confirmed that the tie-in, because every year they kind of do a tie-in on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to one of the movies.
I can't imagine what the tie-in is.
It's Doctor Strange.
Oh, really?
Well, I can tell you right up. When they showed those ghosts, that were in like that laboratory, she was talking about a spell book, or like a book that she had used and that was what went wrong or something. Apparently that's the Book of Sins, which is something that's in Doctor Strange.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So basically, Ghost Rider's appearance on this, his role in this is like, they're basically cause MCU is going to be all about magic in the next phase. Yeah. That's kind of where they're heading in. So Doctor Strange is kind of bringing it in. On the TV side, for the, ABC for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Ghost Rider is our introduction to magic. And then on Netflix, it's going to be Iron Fist.
Okay, gotcha.
So we're getting all these magic introductions. So that's kind of people wondering why they're doing Ghost Rider on it. That's why. It's because he's a mystical element, and they wanted to bring that in.
It's interesting that Quake, like a Quake instantly assumes he's an Inhuman.
Yeah. He's like, nope.
He's like, no, I sold my soul to a devil. Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Robbie Reyes version of Ghost Rider from before this?
I'm not very familiar, no.
He's a fairly new character from what I've heard. Like he's like the most recent incarnation of Ghost Rider.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I like it. I thought I might think of it kind of as like a bit of a B team kind of thing with them not using, Johnny Blaze and the motorcycle and stuff, but it kind of works.
But it feels like 100% authentic Ghost Rider.
I really like the actor portraying him.
I really like the actor. It doesn't feel like B team Ghost Rider. You know?
No. Yeah, it feels great. It
feels great.
This is exactly what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. needed to kind of get even more comic booky and really kind of develop it. And I like the idea of like Fitz and Simmons like trying to kind of like scientifically explain something that's now mystical.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. I really want the holy shit moment when they fully realize that they're involved in something that's not scientific,
Right.
That's going to be really cool. It's the same thing with magic in the MCU over. What's the thing that we all can't wait to see in the movies now that Doctor Strange is going to happen? We all want to see Iron Man reacting to it.
Yeah, we all want to see Iron Man.
How's Tony Stark going to deal with the fact that magic exists? That's the kind of stuff that we want to see. So yeah, that's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And let's end off with Scream Queen. So you watched both episodes of Scream Queens?
Yes, I did.
And what are your thoughts of the season 2, the hospital setting?
You know what? So far, it's hilarious. Yep. It hasn't skipped a beat. Some of it feels like recycled from the first season.
Yeah, definitely. There's that. But man, John Stamos is killing it.
John Stamos is killing it.
Jamie Lee Curtis continues to kill it. She's
continues to kill it. Yeah, everybody does a great job. The new killer is amazing. Just from visual design, they freaking nail it. I thought the Red Devil was like a really great looking, really great villain for season 1, and I think this is an even better villain. The Green Meanie, Jesus.
I love the flashback they did.
Yeah, the flashback.
At the hospital, and was it Jerry O'Connell's character? It's just total, just arrogant, like the whole hospital staff just doesn't give a shit. Yeah, someone's dying because they're having their Halloween party.
Yeah, nobody gives a crap, least of all Jerry O'Connell.
Yeah.
And because like, I just like, it's like such a flimsy thing because this guy is such an inconvenience dying during their party. He like throws him in a swamp.
I still think the best scene though had to be, what was it? Denise, the security guard, now FBI agent, tricking, Esther into admitting all of her crimes from the past season.
Oh yeah, that was,
arguing about what double jeopardy is.
Yeah, she's like, you can't convict, she like confesses everything. She's like, you can't convict me because double jeopardy. And she's like, you weren't tried, the Chanels were tried. And she's like, yeah, but there was a trial, so it's double jeopardy. She's like, no, it's not because you weren't tried.
And then she just like beating at the door trying to get out.
Yeah.
She panics.
Yeah.
And then in season 2 we see Esther in like little Hannibal style.
Yeah, it's like, this was like total like straight ripped off from Silence of the Lambs, because they got this other killer on the loose and they go to her for like help.
I just love how they're bringing in everybody, but not just like in like when I saw the previews and stuff, I thought, oh, they're gonna bring in the Chanels as like nurses or something. It's like, no, they're training to be doctors. And then, like they're basically working as doctors characters with no experience.
Yeah, with like zero experience.
And now like Chad Radwell is gonna be a doctor too.
Yeah, Chad Radwell, they brought him in. The only surviving character from season 1 they're missing is Grace, which I don't know what that is. They haven't even explained it. They haven't even explained what happened to that character. Or they haven't even mentioned her.
Yeah.
Which is kind of odd, because they got like everybody else.
Yeah, Grace and her father.
Grace and her father, yeah.
They're just gone. I kind of imagine they won't come back. They're not really that necessary, even though they were like the pivotal center of the story. They were pretty vanilla compared to everything else going around.
They were definitely very vanilla. I don't think anybody misses them, to be honest.
It's not that they were bad. It's just that they had a very specific role and they did it, and that's it.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, I love that Denise is still after Zayday.
Yeah, I know. Zayday is the killer, like obviously, because she wasn't the killer the first time, but this time it's for sure.
Poor Chanel number 5 losing her chance.
We got another great scene of the killer going straight after Jamie Lee Curtis, and then she provides a beat down on him.
And then almost takes off his mask, but then gets distracted.
Yeah, and then she's like, next time, when I got the killer down, I'm almost taking off his mask. Do not distract me. He disappears. It's funny. These killers should really stop trying to go after Jamie Lee Curtis. It doesn't work out.
She's like some kind of weird immortal entity. It's like,
yeah, I know, yeah.
I think she has a disease because she's walking different.
Yeah.
Somebody pointed it out to her.
Yeah, because somebody pointed out she's walking different. It reminds me of that scene in like last season when the Chanels were trying to poison her, and she drinks it, and nothing happens.
Yeah. So yeah, Scream Queens continues to be hilarious. My biggest concern with the series is always that, American Horror Story used to be really good, and it's the same person, Ryan Murphy, in charge of both. I'm desperately hoping against hope that Scream Queens continues to be true to itself in the way that American Horror Story did not.
Yes.
So far, it's very true to itself. It's been hilarious. Oh man, and John Stamos and Chad Radwell, that scene with them in the shower.
Oh my god, yeah.
And at the very end, he's all, I think our penis is just touched. So funny. So, continues to be a great show. That's it, right?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
So, thank you everybody for listening to the podcast. We'll be doing episode 77 next week, so come back for that. Until then, check out Luke Cage, because by the time this podcast is up, Luke Cage will be up as well. So, thank you everybody for listening to the Weekly Set Podcast. Bye.
Bye.
If you would like to voice your opinion, send an email to theweeklyset@TVEnthusiast.com. TV Enthusiast is a part of the Enthusiast Media Network. Stay tuned to TV Enthusiast and the Weekly Set Podcast for more coverage of all